My name is Mira Thompson, 34 years old from North Carolina, and I was standing in the self-checkout line at Target when my phone buzzed. Nothing dramatic, nothing ominous, just a text from Logan on an ordinary Thursday afternoon. Stop calling me. No explanation, no follow-up, no missed call from me that would make sense of it. Just those 3 words typed like I was some stranger who wouldn't take a hint. For a second, I thought it was a mistake. Maybe he meant it for a coworker or for one of his clients. Maybe autocorrect had mangled whatever he was trying to say. But the longer I stared at it, the colder that message felt. It was the tone. Sharp. Final. Like a door slamming. I didn't reply. I just put my wallet back in my purse and stood there, breathing in that weird, artificial store air while something heavy and sour started rising in my chest. Then my phone buzzed again. A notification from Instagram. Hannah. Carson posted a new reel. Logan's ex. I should have ignored it. I should have kept scanning my paper towels and almond milk and walked out like a normal person, gone home, and waited for my husband to explain himself like an adult. But I tapped it. Of course I tapped it. The video was only 6 seconds long. At first, the lens shook like she'd grabbed her phone fast. She walked into her bedroom mirror, flipping her hair over her shoulder, her reflection glowing with that soft, flattering filter she always used. Then the camera shifted. And God, my stomach dropped. Because behind her, lying on her bed like he belonged there, was Logan, shirtless, smiling, scrolling through his phone like he'd just woken up from the best nap of his life. Then she turned the camera toward him and he laughed, and said, "Mira's probably blowing up my phone right now. Poor thing." I felt every muscle in my body stiffen at the same time. A woman behind me said, "Are you in line?" And I didn't even hear her until she tapped my shoulder. My eyes were stuck on that screen, replaying his voice over and over. Poor thing, poor thing. The caption was worse. When the upgrade is worth the wait. 2 winking emojis, 3 fire emojis. My hands started shaking so badly I dropped my phone onto the conveyor belt. The sound snapped a couple shoppers' heads in my direction. I grabbed the phone and bolted out of the line, out of the store, out into the bright heat of the parking lot where the sunlight hurt my eyes. I could feel people staring like I was the crazy one. I didn't even think. I just ran to my car, threw everything into the passenger seat and started driving. I wasn't crying. Not yet. It was something stronger, sharper, like the instinct you get when you touch a hot pan and your hand jerks back before your brain even catches up. Logan was at the gym. Thursday afternoons were always his reset sessions, whatever that meant. I knew exactly where he'd be at this hour. I'd driven him there enough times when his car was in the shop. I pulled into the parking lot and saw his car immediately. So he wasn't at Hannah's anymore. My heart was thudding so hard I could feel it in my teeth. I walked inside the gym and the sound hit me. Music, weights dropping, people shouting through reps, treadmill belts squeaking. It smelled like sweat and rubber and that vague citrus cleaning spray they always used. At the far wall, I saw him, Logan, my husband, doing cable rows like he hadn't just set my whole life on fire. "Honey?" a woman said from the front desk. "Do you need—" But I didn't hear her. I was already walking straight toward him. He saw me in the mirror first. His arms froze mid-pull. The weight slammed down behind him and echoed through the whole section. "Mira?" he said, turning around like he was the one caught off guard. "What are you doing here?" I held up my phone. Hit play. Hannah's voice. His laugh. Those words. His face went gray so fast I thought he might actually pass out. A couple people nearby paused their reps and looked over. Someone lowered the volume on the speaker. The whole vibe of the room shifted in seconds. "Turn that off," he hissed, stepping toward me. "This isn't the place, Mira." "No?" I said, my voice shaking but loud enough to carry. "Because it looks like the place where you had plenty to say about me an hour ago." More heads turned. "Come outside," he said quietly. "We can talk." "There's nothing to talk about," I snapped. "You told me to stop calling you. Now I see why." "Mira." She posted you in her bed. Her bed, Logan. And you laughed about me. In public. It was a joke, he said. The angle makes it look worse. It wasn't. Oh, a joke? I cut in. Is that what she is? Is that what you two are doing? Comedy? People stopped pretending to work out. One girl even pulled out her phone. Logan noticed, and his voice got tight. Put your phone down, he said sharply. I don't care who's recording, I said. Let the whole city see who you are. His jaw clenched. I saw the exact moment anger replaced fear. Can you not make a scene? He muttered. Logan, I said calmly. The scene started when your ex posted you half naked in her sheets. I'm just here to finish it. Someone choked back a laugh. A guy in a UNC t-shirt whispered something to his friend. Logan grabbed my wrist, not hard, but firm enough to make the audience go still. I pulled my hand back. Slow, deliberate. Don't touch me, I said. He dropped his arm like it burned him. I turned around to leave, because if I stayed one more second, I'd break, and I refused to let him see that. I walked past the treadmills, past the trainer watching with his mouth half open, past the front desk girl who didn't know if she should stop me or cheer. When the automatic doors slid open, the heat hit me again, hot and bright against my face. I didn't look back. Not once. By the time I reached my car, the shaking had passed. My heartbeat slowed. My breath steadied. Something inside me, something old, something patient, clicked into place. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to plead. I wasn't going to compete with a woman who weaponized filters and captions. No, I was going to make him regret every second of this, not with screaming, not with chaos, not with the meltdown he clearly expected, with precision, with consequences, with silence so cold it would freeze his whole world. I started the engine, gripped the steering wheel, and made myself a promise. He wanted me to stop calling? Fine. He'd soon wish I had called before it was too late. When I pulled into our driveway that evening, the house looked exactly the same. Sunset hitting the siding, Sadie's bike leaning against the porch, the kitchen light glowing through the blinds. Anyone else would think it was a peaceful home. But the minute I stepped inside, the silence felt like a crack in the walls. This wasn't how our marriage was supposed to turn out. Not after everything I carried on my back for years. When Logan and I first met, he was charming in that restless, ambitious way. He always had a plan, a promotion to chase, certifications to earn, new tech to buy. I thought the ambition meant stability someday. I was 26 and optimistic enough to believe that effort always paid off. Then life changed fast. I got pregnant with Sadie. I cut my UX design hours to part-time, thinking it would be temporary. Temporary became just for now, and just for now became years of scheduling my entire life around daycare pickups, grocery runs, and making sure Logan didn't walk into a dark house after work. I told myself I was being supportive, building a foundation for him, for us. Meanwhile, he took every overtime hour offered, every late meeting, every weekend project. I handled everything else. Bills, budgeting, doctor appointments, birthday parties, school emails, the endless invisible labor that no one ever applauds. And then there were the financial sacrifices. When his credit card debt ballooned, a mix of gadgets, work clothes, and those expensive supplements he swore were essential. I rolled my inheritance from my grandmother into paying most of it off. I didn't tell anyone because I didn't want him to look bad. I didn't want us to look fractured. Funny how the things we hide for love end up being used against us. The warning signs were there. I see them clearly now. The way he angled his phone away from me. The sudden gym obsession. The "my battery died" excuses. The shift from talking to me to talking at me. I kept brushing it off because I didn't want Sadie growing up in a broken home. I wanted her to have both parents under one roof, even if one of them was barely present. I stood in the kitchen now, staring at the counter where I used to pack Logan's lunches. I couldn't believe the man who slept in our bed last night was in another woman's bed this morning, laughing about me, mocking me. A soft patter of footsteps pulled me back. Sadie appeared at the top of the stairs, holding her stuffed giraffe by the leg. "Mom?" she whispered. "Daddy said you were being dramatic." My throat tightened. "Did he tell you that?" "He said you called too much." She paused. "But you only called twice." I kneeled, brushed her hair behind her ear. "Sweetheart, did you see anything else? Anything that made you feel weird?" She hesitated, and that hesitation shredded something inside me. "I saw a lady in the background. When Daddy FaceTimed me yesterday," she whispered. "He said it was the TV. Not a TV, not a glitch, not an angle, a woman. And my daughter saw it. That was the moment everything settled inside me like a final verdict. Logan didn't just betray me. He involved our daughter in the lie. And that made the betrayal undeniable and unforgivable." The next morning, I woke up before my alarm. Not because I'd slept well, I didn't sleep at all, but because my mind had slipped into a different gear overnight. The shock had burned off. The humiliation had hardened into something colder, steadier, almost mechanical. I wasn't going to sit in this house waiting for Logan to come home and throw excuses at me like scraps. I wasn't going to let him twist this into another one of his "you're overreacting" routines. And I definitely wasn't going to let him decide the pace of this fallout. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and started with the accounts. The first thing I checked was our joint savings, the one I funded more than he did, the one I kept afloat while he chased every new gadget or gym membership upgrade he claimed was essential. My hands didn't shake when I moved half of it into an account in my name only. Not hidden, not sneaky, just legally protected. Next were the credit cards. 2 of them were tied to my income. He never thought about that part. He always assumed everything in our life existed because he worked so hard. I opened the bank app and froze his card with one tap. The confirmation screen popped up like an affirmation. Then I emailed a lawyer. No long message, no dramatic story. Just, "I need to discuss divorce options, financial protections, custody, availability today or tomorrow." At 8:11 a.m., the reply came back. "Yes, noon, bring documents." Perfect. By the time Sadie woke up, I'd already scanned our insurance papers, tax returns, pay stubs, the deed to the townhouse, and the last 2 years of Logan's work expenses. I made a folder labeled "Legal." It felt like reclaiming oxygen. After dropping Sadie at school, I went home, grabbed 2 suitcases, and began packing essentials. Not the emotional things, not the keepsakes. Just clothes, toiletries, work equipment, and the documents the lawyer asked for. I moved with a clarity I hadn't felt in years. The kind you get when you finally admit the truth you've been avoiding. At 11:02 a.m., my phone buzzed. "Logan, we need to talk. Where are you?" I didn't answer. Instead, I finished zipping the bags and loaded them into the car. I left the house lights off, locked the door behind me, and headed to the lawyer's office. By noon, I was sitting across from a woman who didn't blink when I told her what happened. She took notes, asked for dates, asked for proof. I showed her the video. Her eyebrows lifted slightly, not in shock, but in confirmation. "Mira," she said quietly, "you're in a strong position, financially and legally. If you want to proceed swiftly, we can." "I do," I said. "Immediately." She nodded. "We'll start with temporary custody and financial protections. He'll be notified." I exhaled, the first full exhale in 24 hours. When I walked back to my car, my phone was buzzing again. 6 missed calls, 4 texts, a voicemail. His panic was starting. Good. Because I was already 3 steps ahead. Logan's panic hit faster than I expected. By the time I picked up Sadie from school that afternoon, he had called me 12 times. Not a single voicemail explained anything. Just endless, "Call me back. We need to talk." And one frustrated, "Answer your phone, Mira." I didn't. Instead, I turned my ringer off and let the silence work for me. The first consequence landed around 5:30 p.m., right when I pulled into my sister Leah's driveway, where we were staying temporarily. My phone buzzed with a notification from the bank. Card status, declined. Attempted transaction, 187.54. Fitness X Gym Retail. I smiled without meaning to. That would be his post-workout protein tubs, supplements, and the overpriced pre-workout he swore changed his performance. A minute later, another alert. Attempted withdrawal, $500, ATM denied. 2 minutes later, attempted transfer, blocked. Logan was scrambling, and the system was telling him exactly what he never thought he'd hear. You're not in control anymore. I didn't have to imagine his reaction. I knew him. His face would go blotchy, his jaw tight, hands running through his hair like the world personally betrayed him. He'd blame the bank first, then the system, then anyone else he could before finally realizing the truth. While I heated leftovers for Sadie, my sister leaned on the counter. So, is he melting down yet? I shrugged. In stages. She lifted an eyebrow. Let me guess. Declined card stage? Just entered it, I said, sliding pasta onto a plate. The next ripple came from his mistress, because of course it did. Around 7 p.m., my phone lit up with a message from a number I didn't recognize. Unknown. Tell him to leave me alone. He blew up my phone all afternoon. I'm done with this. I didn't even respond. Logan must have gone running to her after the cards got shut down, and she realized she wasn't dating the version of him he advertised online, the guy with income potential and career momentum. She was dating the man who couldn't afford gas without my help. A few minutes later, Leah walked into the living room holding her phone. Have you seen this? She asked. I took her phone. Someone at the gym, the girl near the treadmills, had posted a vague but unmistakable TikTok recap titled, When a Man's Lies Catch Up with Him at the Worst Possible Moment. The caption didn't name Logan, but the comments did. Is this about that guy at Fitness X? Oh, I saw this happen. His wife handled it better than I would have. The ex posting him was wild. More and more people chimed in. By morning, it would probably spread. Good. By 8 p.m., Logan tried again, this time from a different number. Logan. Mira. Answer the phone. We need to sort out this bank thing. Something's wrong with the accounts. I typed back one sentence. Everything is exactly how it should be. He responded instantly. Logan. What does that mean? Are you moving money? You're overreacting. Mira, answer me right now. Overreacting. There it was, his favorite word. I locked my phone and left him typing into the void. Around 9 p.m., the next shockwave hit, this one courtesy of his own family. His brother, Josh, texted me. Josh, what's going on with Logan? He showed up at Dad's house ranting about, you took everything. You okay? I kept my reply simple. Me. I'm safe. Sadie is safe. That's all that matters right now. Josh, do you need anything? Me. No, not tonight. Josh. Okay. For what it's worth, I'm not taking his side on this. That part surprised me. Not because Josh was disloyal, but because Logan always assumed his family would blindly support him. He banked on it. He bragged about it. But even allies hesitate when someone's downfall is self-inflicted. At 10:04 p.m., Logan tried one last time. A voice message. I didn't want to listen, but I forced myself. His voice was tight, angry, but underneath it was fear. Mira, I don't know what game you're playing, but this isn't okay. You can't just make decisions without telling me. We're married. You can't freeze accounts. You can't just walk out. Call me back. Now. Please. That please wasn't softness. It was desperation disguised as authority. I deleted the message, because he still didn't get it. This wasn't a game. This wasn't a tantrum. This wasn't a negotiation. This was the beginning. And he was only now realizing that the consequences weren't coming. They were already here. 2 days later, Logan finally figured out where we were staying. I shouldn't have been surprised. His brother probably slipped without meaning to. Or maybe Logan drove around until he spotted my car in Leah's driveway. Either way, I wasn't caught off guard. I'd been waiting for this moment. Not anticipating it, not dreading it, waiting. And it came in the loudest, most predictable place possible. Sadie's Saturday soccer game. The field was packed. Parents lined up with folding chairs, toddlers stumbled over juice boxes, and teenagers sold snacks for fundraising. The sun was bright, the air warm, and everything felt normal, until Logan walked across the field like a man storming a battlefield. Some people noticed immediately. A few whispered. A few nudged their friends. Everyone knew what had happened by now. The gym video, the Instagram reel, his ex's meltdown, the declined cards. Logan wasn't walking, he was stomping. His face flushed red, breathing uneven, wearing that same gym hoodie from the viral TikTok. I stood on the sideline with Leah, watching him approach. My pulse didn't spike. My hands didn't shake. I was past the point of reacting. He marched straight toward me. "Mira, we need to talk. Now." Parents turned their heads, trying not to stare while definitely staring. I kept my eyes on the field. "This isn't the place." "Oh, this is exactly the place," he snapped. "You froze my accounts. You took half our savings without warning. I had to borrow gas money from my brother. Do you have any idea how humiliating that is?" A couple dads pretended to check their phones but didn't look away. Leah stepped closer, but I shook my head. "Let him keep talking. I'm done being punished," he said, voice rising. "You made your point. You got your little victory. Now we're going to undo this mess." "Undo?" I repeated quietly. "Yes, undo," he said. "I've apologized, okay? I told you the video wasn't what it looked like." Someone behind him snorted, loudly. He shot them a glare, then turned back to me. "I'm not losing my family over a video Hannah posted to get attention. You overreacted like you always do. Now give me access back to the account so we can handle this like adults." I finally looked at him. Really looked. The arrogance, the entitlement, the complete inability to grasp reality. And then came the moment the whole field would end up talking about. "Logan," I said quietly, "you didn't lose your family because of a video." He blinked, thrown off. "You lost your family because you were in another woman's bed and laughed about me like I was disposable." His jaw tightened. I said I was sorry. "You're not sorry," I said. "You're inconvenienced." A few parents gasped. A mom whispered, "Oh my God." Logan stepped closer, lowering his voice but increasing the pressure. "Give me back access to the accounts. I'm serious, Mira. I have bills due. I have responsibilities. You can't just financially sabotage me." "You mean the accounts I funded?" I asked. "The ones built on my inheritance? My work? My sacrifices?" He opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "And by the way," I added loud enough for everyone to hear, "freezing the cards wasn't sabotage." Logan's eyebrows snapped together. "What do you call it then?" I held his stare. "Accountability." A ripple went through the sidelines, a mix of soft gasps, stifled laughs, and murmurs spreading like wind on grass. Logan's entire face twisted. "You're humiliating me." "No, Logan," I said. "You humiliated yourself. I'm just done protecting you from the consequences." He looked around and realized everyone was still watching. A dad filming discreetly, a mom whispering into her friend's ear, a teenager pointing at him with wide eyes like he'd spotted a celebrity meltdown. Logan's hands shook. "Mira, please, can we go somewhere private? I can explain everything." "No," I said. "We're done with private explanations. Everything you did happened publicly. I'm not cleaning it up behind closed doors." He swallowed hard, throat tight. Then, in the smallest voice I'd ever heard from him, "What am I supposed to do?" I stepped 1 inch closer, not touching him, not raising my voice, just enough that he had no choice but to absorb every syllable. "Logan," I said, "what you're supposed to do is stand here and realize you can't hide behind me anymore." His eyes glistened, anger or panic or both. Then came the mic drop line. Clean. Final. "You didn't lose your stability because I walked away. You lost it because you built it on me, and I'm not holding it up anymore. Someone on the sidelines actually whispered, "Holy," before cutting themselves off. Logan took a step back like the ground shifted under him. His ex's betrayal, the financial chokehold, his family's disappointment, the public humiliation. It all hit at once. He turned away slowly and walked across the field, shoulders tense, head down, every pair of eyes following him. The meltdown would spread by evening. Clips, comments, reactions. But I didn't watch him go. I watched Sadie sprint down the grass, smiling, laughing, free. Because for the first time in years, so was I. By Monday morning, the soccer field confrontation had already left the small-town bubble and slipped into the larger digital bloodstream. Not full viral, not yet, but definitely circulating beyond our immediate circle. Enough that people at Logan's workplace were whispering before he even walked into the building. I didn't post anything. I didn't comment. I didn't defend myself. Silence is louder when the truth is already out there. Logan, of course, chose the opposite strategy. At 9:42 a.m., he posted a 6-slide Instagram story. A black background with white text, like every dramatic pseudo-apology you've ever seen online. "I'm going through a difficult time. There's a lot of misinformation being spread. My wife has been dealing with emotional challenges and I've been trying to support her. Please respect our privacy." Emotional challenges. He didn't use the word unstable, but he might as well have. Within minutes, he started replying to comments under old photos. The curated ones of us smiling at weddings or beach trips. The ones he left up to maintain the facade. I've been trying to help her for months. She misunderstood things. The video was taken out of context. She's spiraling. A few strangers bought it. But the people who knew him didn't. Someone screenshotted his story and posted it to TikTok with the caption, "Bro cheated on his wife on video and is now blaming her emotions. Classic." It got traction fast. By noon, the comments were brutal. Men will literally cheat instead of going to therapy. Not him gaslighting the whole city. Did he forget we all saw the real? Tell me you're the problem without telling me. I didn't have to lift a finger. The public was doing the heavy lifting. But the biggest blow didn't come from strangers. It came from inside his own circle. At 1:17 p.m., I got a text from his friend Mateo. Not someone I'd ever been close with, but friendly enough. Mateo. "I'm sorry. I didn't know what was really going on. You didn't deserve any of this." Then a second message followed. "You should see the group chat. People are done covering for him." I didn't ask to see it. But someone else posted a blurred version on Reddit later that afternoon, not identifying names, but the voices were obvious. Logan had been bragging for weeks about keeping his options open, talking about Hannah like she was a prize he deserved, claiming I wouldn't leave even if I found out, saying I didn't understand how much pressure he was under. Pressure. The same pressure he used to justify disappearing on weekends. The same pressure he blamed for snapping at me. The same pressure he used as a shield while sneaking around with a woman who weaponized filters and thirst traps for attention. The narrative snapped in half instantly. People flooded his newest post with comments. "Where was this energy when you were in someone else's bed? Your wife wasn't spiraling. You were." Gaslighting 101. Accountability looks different on everyone, I guess. By evening, a hashtag formed. A poor thing. The same words he used in Hannah's reel, now turned into a punchline aimed directly at him. People stitched the original gym confrontation with screenshots of his IG story, editing it with dramatic zoom-ins and fake documentary music. The kind of content that spreads because it's both messy and obvious. Logan panicked. At 6:03 p.m., he posted a shaky video. The kind recorded at the last minute, bad lighting, breathless, the kind of video you only post when desperation replaces strategy. "I just want to say," he began, "everything being said about me is getting out of hand. A private moment was recorded without my permission. My wife is going through something and people need to stop attacking us. This is between us, not the internet." The comments were merciless. "Bro, you literally laughed about her." Take accountability challenge. Impossible. Between you and her, you made it public. Not the victim act. He deleted the video within an hour, but the reposts were already everywhere. By nightfall, even Hannah turned on him. She posted a cryptic story. "Don't drag me into your lies. I'm not covering for you." That was all, but she didn't need to say more. People connected the dots instantly. Logan tried to spin the truth, but the truth had receipts. Receipts he created himself. He wasn't just exposed. He was outplayed at his own game, the one he thought he could rig. And I still hadn't said a single public word, because I didn't need to. His downfall was happening in real time, accelerated by every lie he tried to tell. And the public war he started, he had already lost. The official fallout began on Wednesday morning, 48 hours after Logan's messy PR disaster peaked. I was sitting at Leah's kitchen table with a cup of tea when my lawyer called. "He's been served," she said. "Temporary custody, financial protections, and the preliminary injunction. He'll receive instructions on what he can and can't access." My shoulders relaxed for the first time in days. Did he fight it? A small pause. No, he looked unprepared. Of course he did. Logan always believed he was immune to consequences, until they arrived with signatures and court seals. By noon, the next domino fell. Logan tried to access the townhouse. He assumed the keys still made him king of the house he barely helped maintain. But when he turned the lock, the alarm blared. The security company called me immediately. "He's not authorized," I confirmed. The representative said, "Understood. Do you want us to dispatch a unit?" "No," I said calmly. "Just log the attempt." Minutes later, Logan texted, "Logan, why is the alarm code changed? I couldn't even get inside. This is insane." I didn't respond. My lawyer already had. Then came the financial collapse, rapid, ruthless, unavoidable. Around 2 p.m., and I received updates from the attorney. Logan's access to joint credit lines was suspended. His gym drafts, streaming services, and recurring subscriptions bounced. His work expenses credit card was flagged. His personal checking account had only $238 in it. When I saw the number, a strange calm washed over me. For years, he spent freely because he assumed I'd always cover the fallout. Now, the fallout had nowhere to land except on him. By 3 p.m., two HR representatives from his job reached out to me, not him. His behavior had reached them. The video, the TikTok edits, the public meltdown at the soccer field. Couples' personal drama was one thing. Public reputation issues in a client-facing tech role were another. They didn't breach confidentiality, but their tone made it clear. Logan's job was at risk. By 4 p.m., his family entered the war zone. His father called first. "Why didn't you tell us sooner?" he asked. "Because it wasn't your responsibility to fix," I said. He sighed heavily, like he'd aged 10 years in the last 2 days. "Logan came here yelling about money, about you ruining his life. I told him he needed to take responsibility and he lost it." "What did he say?" I asked carefully. "That you stole from him, that you embarrassed him, that you're destroying your daughter's future." I told him he needed to leave before I said something I couldn't take back. It was the closest thing to an apology his father had ever given me. "Thank you," I said quietly. "He needs to learn," he replied. "We're done bailing him out." And there it was, the end of his last safety net. At 5:12 p.m., Logan's brother Josh called. "He's staying with me," he said. Or he was. "I told him he needs to apologize to you before anything else happens, and he called me a traitor." I rubbed my forehead. "I'm sorry he dragged you into this." "I'm not," Josh said. "He created it. And there's something you should know." He paused. He asked me if he could borrow rent money. He hasn't paid his landlord in a month. Apparently he used that cash on investments. Or, whatever he was doing. I closed my eyes. It didn't surprise me. It just finally made sense. His late nights, his excuses, his sudden money stress. He'd been funding his double life by letting the real one rot. By the time evening rolled around, Logan's messages shifted tone. Anger evaporated. Blame flickered out. What replaced it was fear, the kind that rings metallic and hollow through every syllable. Logan, Mira, please. Just talk to me. I don't know what to do. Everything is falling apart. Please don't do this. I can't lose Sadie. I stared at the screen. He didn't mention losing me. Just the stability I used to provide. Just the safety net he thought would always cushion his landing. But it was gone. He was the architect of his downfall, and now he was finally standing in the wreckage. Alone, because I wasn't coming to save him. And this wasn't even the end. The final confrontation was still ahead. And when it came, it would close this chapter forever. On my terms. Logan asked to meet 3 times before I finally agreed. Not because I owed him anything. I didn't. But because the legal process was moving forward, and there were things he needed to hear directly from me, without excuses, without an audience, without a phone buffer for him to hide behind. I chose the place. A small public park near the courthouse. Neutral ground. Open. Safe. No room for theatrics. When I arrived, he was already sitting on a bench under a maple tree, hunched forward, elbows on his knees, like someone bracing for bad news even though he already knew most of it. His hoodie looked worn out. His eyes were swollen, from crying, lack of sleep, or something else he'd never admit. For a second, I just watched him, not because I missed him. That version of him didn't exist anymore, but because I was finally seeing the man behind the illusion. Not the confident talker, not the performer, not the polished husband he pretended to be. Just a man who burned down his own life and didn't know what to do with the ashes. When he noticed me approaching, he stood too quickly, almost tripping. "Mira," he said, breath shaky. "Thank you for coming." I didn't sit. "I won't stay long." He nodded, swallowing hard. "Okay, I get that. I need to explain." "No," I said calmly. "You need to listen." His mouth closed slowly, like he wasn't used to being told that. For a moment, we stood in silence. Kids played on the swings behind us. A couple jogged past. Life continued like the world didn't crack open 2 weeks ago. Finally, he spoke. "I messed everything up," he said. "I know that. I know I hurt you. I didn't think it would get this far. I didn't think you'd really leave." "That's exactly the problem," I said. "You thought there was nothing I could do." His shoulders tensed. "I didn't mean it like that." "You meant it exactly like that," I replied. "You built this life assuming I'd always hold it together, that I'd always clean up after you, always accept less than I deserved." He opened his mouth, but I held up a hand. "You want honesty? Here it is. You didn't cheat because you fell in love with someone else. You cheated because you assumed I'd stay anyway." His face cracked, a small, painful shift. "Mira, I was stressed. I made bad decisions. I didn't feel appreciated." I actually laughed. A short, hollow sound. "Appreciated?" "Logan, I carried our entire life, our finances, our home, our daughter's routine, your debt, your chaos. What more did you want? Applause?" He flinched like I'd slapped him. "I know I took you for granted," he said quietly. "I know I acted like everything you did was automatic. I didn't realize how much you were handling until it all disappeared." "That wasn't me disappearing," I said. "That was you finally seeing the reality without me holding it up." He ran a hand through his hair, pacing in a small circle. "I'm losing everything, Mira. My job is on probation. My dad won't speak to me. Josh kicked me out last night. I don't even have enough money to get through next week." "That's not my doing," I said softly. "You call it losing everything. I call it you living with the consequences." His voice cracked. "I need help." "No," I said instantly. "You need responsibility." He froze. "I'm not asking for us to get back together," he said quickly. "I know that's gone. I need you to stop the legal stuff. the custody, the financial orders. I can't breathe with all this happening at once. Logan, I said, I didn't create the legal consequences. Your actions did. He moved closer, eyes desperate. Please, he whispered. I'll do anything. I'll sell everything I own. I'll go to counseling. I'll delete social media. I'll get off the internet. I'll quit the gym. His voice shook. Just don't take Sadie from me. Don't make me a visitor in her life. That part hurt. Because, despite everything, he loved her. He was a terrible husband, but he wasn't a monster to her. I'm not taking Sadie from you, I said. The court isn't either. But things won't go back to how they were. Custody will be structured, scheduled, supervised until the court is confident in your stability. He pressed his palms to his face. I can't believe this is happening. You made it happen, I said, piece by piece. He looked at me then, really looked. Not the way a husband looks at a wife, the way a drowning man looks at land he can't reach anymore. Is there anything I can say to fix this? He asked. No, I answered, but there's something you need to hear. He straightened, bracing. I stepped closer, not cruel, not heated, just final. You didn't lose me because you cheated, I said. You lost me because you gambled with my dignity and expected me to come back empty-handed. His eyes filled, anger, regret, grief, all of it tangled into one. Mira, this is the last time we'll have this conversation, I said. From now on, everything goes through the lawyers. Everything has boundaries. Everything has structure. He nodded slowly, brokenly. I miss you, he whispered. I don't miss who you became, I replied. The wind picked up. Leaves rustled. Someone's dog barked in the distance. I took one step back, the symbolic one, the real one, the one that separated the past from everything after. Then I gave him the line that would echo in his head long after I walked away. You didn't think I'd leave. Now you get to live with what happens when I finally do. He inhaled shakily, eyes glossy, mouth trembling. I didn't wait for his response. I turned. I walked. And this time, he didn't follow. 6 months later, my life didn't look anything like the world I left behind. And for the first time in years, that felt like a blessing rather than a loss. The townhouse sold quickly. I used my share to move Sadie and me into a bright, modern 2-bedroom apartment just outside downtown Raleigh, close to her school, close to my job, close to everything I used to put on hold. I went back to full-time UX design. I forgot how good it felt to sit in a room where my ideas mattered, where my voice wasn't an afterthought, where I wasn't shrinking myself to keep someone else stable. My coworkers welcomed me back like I'd never left. I started leading projects again. My inbox filled with opportunities instead of apologies. Sadie bloomed too. She laughed more. She slept easier. She stopped tiptoeing around silence the way she used to when Logan came home moody or distant. She drew pictures of mommy and me adventures, and her teacher mentioned how much more confident she was during class presentations. Stability didn't come from pretending anymore. It came from clarity. As for Logan, the updates reached me in fragments, not because I sought them, but because Fallout has a way of circulating on its own. He moved into a small month-to-month rental on the edge of town after getting kicked out of his brother's place. His job put him on performance review after the PR mess spilled into client meetings. His father refused to co-sign anything else for him, and Hannah disappeared from his story entirely, leaving behind nothing but the viral reel that started everything. He saw Sadie only on scheduled weekends now, supervised at first, then gradually increasing as he stabilized enough to show consistency. He tried, I'll give him that. Not at us. At being present for her in the limited space the court allowed. But even then, the version of him she got was different from the one he had tried to project for so long. He never tried to win me back again. Not after that day in the park. Something in him understood the door wasn't just closed. It was sealed. And something in me understood that I didn't need to hate him to move on. I just needed to outgrow him. The most unexpected change came on a quiet Sunday morning. I was sitting on the balcony, coffee in hand, watching the city wake up when I realized I wasn't replaying anything anymore. Not the video, not the confrontation, not the last conversation. My life no longer revolved around the moment he betrayed me. It revolved around everything I built after. The freedom wasn't loud. It was steady. It was mine. Betrayal didn't break me. It redirected me. And standing in the life I rebuilt, with clarity, with dignity, with peace that didn't require anyone else's permission, I understood something simple. Walking away wasn't the end. It was the beginning of the life he never believed I could create without him. Thank you for tuning into the Velvet Revenge channel. Please hit that hype button and subscribe for more revenge stories like this. See you soon.